Liu Wuju is the kind of guy everyone calls a loser. His favorite pastime is flipping through books, and he has zero interest in school activities, having a best friend or girlfriend. For him, those things only exist in another world. Because of his timid nature, he's an easy target for bullies. Thankfully, there's always one person who steps in to save him, Beck Raven. She's not only his childhood friend, but also the most popular girl in school. A complete opposite of him in every way. What Wuju doesn't realize is that Raven secretly has a crush on him. She hides it behind her tough, Sunder-like attitude. During one of their usual conversations, chaos suddenly breaks out. A random cat leaps at Raven and snatches her pendant. Wuju instantly recognizes it. It's the very pendant he gave her back when they were kids. Without hesitation, he chases after the cat. In the process, he crashes straight into his class bully. Annoyed, she hurls her slipper at him, but instead of hitting him, it smacks the cat. Wuju dives forward to save the animal, but it looks like he's about to fall to his death. At that exact moment, something shocking happens. The cat speaks. Startled, Wuju freezes, but the cat is moved by his selfless action. It chants a strange spell, glowing with a radiant green aura, and declares Wuju a judge for an upcoming contest. Wuju doesn't understand any of it, and before he can process what's happening, he shuts his eyes and finds himself elsewhere. A mysterious figure in a white robe appears before him, offering to grant his deepest desire. But before Wuju can answer, everything goes black. The next thing he knows, he's waking up in the school infirmary. Somehow, he survived a fall from the 4th floor. The school doctor notices his confused expression and assumes he lost his memory. She discharges him, but advises him to see a hospital. Later, Wuju returns home, only to find the same cat waiting inside his apartment. Furious, he accuses it of stealing Robin's necklace. But the cat coolly responds that the necklace belongs to it in the first place. Wuju can hardly believe what's happening. The cat is actually talking. Overwhelmed, he nearly loses his mind, but the cat urges him to calm down. It reminds him that he was chosen as a judge and warns him not to make it regret that choice. Wuju's face twists in confusion, which only annoys the cat further. Meanwhile, Raven waits outside his apartment, wondering if Wuju has returned from school. Suddenly, she hears his screams from inside. Alarmed, she rushes upstairs and barges into his room. What she sees freezes her in place. Her mind stalls for 5 seconds, then finally catches up, only for her to unleash a piercing scream that echoes through the apartment. Beck Raven finally recovers from her shock and bolts out of the apartment to report everything to her mom. Wuju tries to stop her, but she's already gone. He's still trying to piece together the madness in his head when the mysterious girl calmly reveals the truth. She was the cat from school. Her name is Nina. Just then, Raven storms back inside and immediately accuses Wuju of bringing a random girl home. For context, the two of them live together, so of course this looks bad. Robin's disbelief grows even stronger when Nina suddenly vanishes without a trace, leaving Wuju sweating bullets. To make things worse, Robin's mom joins in with a teasing tone, making the whole scene painfully awkward. Unconvinced, Raven starts searching the room top to bottom, while her mom wisely slips out to leave them to their drama. Once the coast is clear, Nina reappears out of nowhere, scaring Wuju half to death. Raven barges back in again, only to find nothing suspicious, and finally storms out. Later, Nina explains things more clearly. She tells Wuju that something definitely went wrong during his fall. Then she mentions the 12 zodiac contest is happening again, which is why she chose him to play the role of judge. Wuju doesn't understand a word of it, his brain already fried, and he drifts off to sleep from exhaustion. In his dreams, he meets the same mysterious figure from before, now surrounded by small animals. The figure explains that only 12 seats exist, reserved through a contest. Apparently, this is the first contest. Wuju still doesn't understand, but the dream pulls him deeper until he abruptly wakes up in his room. Nina is nowhere to be seen. Remembering yesterday's madness, Wooju seriously considers skipping school altogether. But in the end, he sighs, dresses in his uniform, and drags himself out. Meanwhile, Nina seizes the chance to do her thing. At school, he's relieved to find his bully absent. But his relief doesn't last. He overhears his classmates talking and realizes Raven hasn't shown up either. Panic sets in. He searches the entire campus, but finds nothing. Worried sick, Wooju rushes to her house. Robin's mom tells him she hasn't returned, and his panic only deepens when his texts and calls go unanswered. He checks every one of her favorite hangout spots, but she's nowhere. That's when Nina suddenly appears, strolling casually like it's just another day. Wooju stares in disbelief. Her outfit and tail are way too obvious. He calls her an idiot for walking around like that, but she brushes it off. He quickly demands if she knows where Raven is. Nina's response is cold and simple. It has already started. Wooju presses for details, and she finally explains. The 12 zodiacs have begun their descent. Before he can even react, a massive beam of light crashes down from the sky. Without hesitation, Nina grabs his hand and pulls him toward it. While running, she explains that his role as judge is to bring the descending zodiacs into the contest. Failure to do so means Robin's death. The weight of her words makes Wooju's stomach drop. They follow the light and arrive at an abandoned storage building. To his shock, Raven is inside. Relieved, Wooju steps forward, only for her to snap at him not to come closer. Then, in an instant, she dashes off with frightening speed. Wooju is stunned. When did she get this fast? Chasing her up to the rooftop, Nina reveals that Raven hasn't been fully possessed yet. Wooju tries to reach out, explaining the contest and hoping she'll snap back to herself. But before they could do anything, Raven jumps off the building. Horrified, Wooju rushes to the edge, assuming the worst. Nina, however, doesn't even flinch. She calmly reveals the truth. Raven has been possessed by the 4th zodiac, the one with the bunny features. Being possessed by the rabbit is a complete hassle, she adds, almost like it's a mild inconvenience. Meanwhile, Wooju's brain short-circuits, convinced Raven is already dead. But Nina cuts him off, insisting there's no time to cry. Before he can even form another word, he realizes they're no longer standing still. Both of them are already mid-air, plummeting down from the rooftop straight after her. Well, not to worry. Cats always land on their feet. But the real problem isn't the fall. It's Beck Raven. Her possession is nearly complete, and even half-possessed, she's ridiculously agile. The whole thing quickly turns into a high-stakes game of tag. Raven darts around rooftops like an Olympic athlete, while Wooju struggles to keep up. Nina sighs in frustration, ears flicking with annoyance. Raven, still partially conscious, cries out for help in between movements, her voice trembling. Wooju finally blurts out the only idea he has. Raven should join the contest to return to normal. But she doesn't answer. That silence sparks an idea in Wooju's head. He explains his plan to Nina, but she just tilts her head in confusion. His reasoning? Raven is only half-possessed, and because the rabbit is a herbivore, it's natural for her to instinctively keep her distance from Nina, the predator. Add the rooftops and tight spaces to the mix, and the terrain heavily favors Raven. So Wooju proposes something simple, classic hunter tactics. A driven hunt. Basically, push the prey into a spot where escape isn't possible. Nina stares at him like he's been watching too many nature documentaries, but she follows along. Exhausted but determined, Wooju finally positions himself on a rooftop. His plan is risky but simple. Force Raven to leap, then catch her before she lands. And against all odds, the plan works. But the moment he catches her, the Zodiac rabbit stirs violently. The possession is almost complete, and Raven is seconds away from losing herself entirely. Wooju refuses to let go. Fueled by the memory of his childhood promise to protect her, he calls upon his power as the judge. A brilliant green light erupts behind him, surging upward into the sky. The Zodiac rabbit is pulled out of Robin's body, manifesting into its true form. a small bunny spirit glowing with divine energy. The danger passes, but there's no time to rest. Immediately, other zodiac spirits begin descending into the human world, streaks of light raining down like comets. Later, Raven slowly regains consciousness. Groggy, her mind tries to piece everything together. The first thing she does is shove Wuju away in embarrassment, thinking he's somehow snuck into her room. After some clarifying and frantic hand-waving, she calms down, only to freak out again when she notices Nina. Her jaw drops. Nina is not only in the room, but also wearing her clothes. The bunny spirit intervenes, telling Raven to relax, reminding her she almost died. Raven wonders if she's finally lost it, but Nina assures her she's fine. Still, Raven can feel something strange inside her, some kind of connection with the zodiac spirit. Nina's tone shifts from playful to serious as she explains the situation. Raven blinks in confusion, while Wuju demands a proper explanation this time. No riddles, no half-truths. Before Nina can even start, the bunny spirit hops forward suspiciously, accusing her of planning to twist the story. Taking matters into its own paws, it begins the explanation. The 12 Zodiac Contest is a sacred competition held to decide the order of the zodiacs who will protect the upper realm. The judge, marked by the green pendant, has the duty of gathering the descending zodiac spirits and ensuring they join the contest within 100 days. Still, Wuju frowns. That doesn't explain why Raven was possessed. The bunny continues. Times have changed. The upper realm and earth are now separate, so the zodiacs require human hosts to act as vessels. They don't fight directly. Instead, they grant their powers to their chosen hosts. To prove the point, the bunny suddenly dives back into Rabin's body. Her eyes widen in shock as fluffy rabbit ears sprout from her head. Wuju's face instantly goes red, steam practically rising from his head. The narrator can't help but comment, the only thing missing now is lingerie. Rabin's ears twitch in embarrassment as she yells at him to stop staring. The bunny spirit goes on, explaining another detail. When the zodiacs descend, they temporarily lose parts of their senses. That's why possession feels chaotic, with two spirits overlapping. And Raven isn't the only one. 11 others are experiencing the same thing right now. Nina nods, confirming everything so far is true. Wuju, however, is stuck on the obvious problem. How is he supposed to approach strangers and convince them to join a magical zodiac contest? He can barely order lunch without stammering. The bunny spirit clarifies. Each zodiac host chosen shares a connection with the judge. That's why it tried to possess Raven first, because her connection to Wuju is the strongest. That sounds nice in theory, except Wuju is a total loser with no real circle of friends. The only person who comes to mind is the cafeteria lady, which doesn't exactly scream fated connection. Brushing the thought aside, he asks what happens if he fails to gather all the zodiac hosts within the 100-day limit. The answer makes everyone freeze. If the hosts aren't gathered, the zodiacs will completely take over their bodies. Raven trembles with fear at the thought, but the bunny reassures her that her case is different. Still, she doesn't plan on being stuck with a rabbit spirit forever, which only makes the bunny pout in annoyance. The bigger issue hits Wuju like a ton of bricks. 10 people's lives are now in his hands. His face pales at the responsibility. Sensing his fear, Nina leans in dangerously close, assuring him that everything will be fine as long as they stick together. Raven doesn't miss the closeness, and her face twists with jealousy. After the explanation, both Wuju and Raven wonder aloud why the contest even exists. The bunny is about to spill the truth when Nina quickly cuts it off with a sharp warning about revealing too much. Rabin's suspicion spikes. Maybe Nina is hiding something about the contest rules. Nina calmly explains. The judge himself decides the rules the moment he accepts the role. But unfortunately, Wuju can't remember them. He blames it on falling from the 4th floor. The bunny decides to provide an alternative. Pressing a paw to Wuju's chest, a glowing symbol appears. It explains that as Wuju recruits more zodiacs, The rules he once set will eventually return to him. But there's a catch. If he can't gather all the spirits in time, not only will the contest never begin, but Wooju himself will die. The priority now is clear. Find the hosts. But Raven still isn't satisfied. She demands to know the true reason why the contest was revived. This time, Nina has no excuse. The bunny answers directly. The prize for the winner is a wish granted. Before anyone can press further, Nina interrupts, insisting that the conversation for later. For now, their only focus should be tracking down the hosts. As Raven prepares to leave Wooju's room, she suddenly realizes something. Nina has no intention of leaving. She's planning to stay in the same room as Wooju. Robin's discomfort is written all over her face. Nina notices, smirks, and teases that she'll take good care of him. That one line is enough to push Robin's jealousy off the charts. She storms out in a huff. Wooju, meanwhile, is left with the wide-eyed expression of a boy about to share a room with a girl for the first time. Nina just shrugs, telling him she has nowhere else to go, before tugging on his clothes. When he asks what's on her mind, she gives the simplest answer possible. She's hungry. Moments later, Wooju pours her some milk. To his surprise, Nina crouches down and drinks it exactly like a cat. Sure, she looks like a girl on the outside, but inside, instincts never lie. After dinner, they chat casually. Nina's eyes light up with curiosity when he mentions the fridge. He explains how it keeps food fresh, but she notes nothing like that existed in her time. When he asks how she survived until now, she admits she simply woke up one day after sleeping for ages, only to find the world had completely changed. She reminisces about the old days, but Wooju drops the bombshell that nothing from her memories exists anymore. Instead of breaking down, she accepts it calmly, adapting quickly. When asked how she got food before meeting him, she sheepishly reveals she sniffed boxes and collected things. Basically, she was stealing. Wooju hesitates, fidgets, then finally stammers out an invitation. Would she like to go for a walk? Instantly, Nina beams like an excited child and grabs his hand. To her, the idea sounds fun. The walk turns into a series of mini lessons. Wooju explains why she can't just chase cats on the street, shows her how vending machines work, and even endures explore tall buildings. Finally, he asks her to promise not to steal anymore. As he offers her a popsicle, he accidentally pokes it against her cheek. She yelps in shock like a real cat, only to melt the next second, happily licking it. He can't help but stare. Her innocent smile makes her look genuinely pretty. His face burns red. Just when the atmosphere starts to shift, they hear footsteps. Wooju quickly pulls Nina into hiding as a couple enters the convenience store. At first, it looks normal, until the couple skips the groceries and dives straight into, well, other activities. The gears shift fast, and Wooju bolts with Nina, apologizing over and over. Back in his room, he sighs in relief. Crisis averted. Nina, however, complains that his stunt made her dirty. Wooju tells her to wash up, only to freeze in horror when she actually starts licking her skin clean. Like a cat, our boy battles with Nina, insisting she use the shower. But Nina refuses, stubbornly declaring she doesn't want to get her fur wet. Typical cat logic. After endless banter, he finally shows her how to use it. Just when things seem normal, panic hits him. Nina starts undressing right there without a shred of warning. Our boy instantly bolts from the bathroom, giving her space. But then disaster strikes. The bathroom door is broken. It won't close properly. And before he can warn Nina, he sees everything. Poor guy is both blessed and cursed at the same time. Later, Nina emerges from the bathroom, wearing his clothes, no less. Meanwhile, he's glued to the fridge, trying to erase the whole scene from his brain. Nina questions him, but he quickly blames her as the cause of his suffering. Now he has to keep reminding himself. Nina might look like a cute girl, but she's still a cat from 300 years ago. No use losing sanity over this. Our boy steps out of the bathroom again, this time with a serious expression. But what greets him? Nina, already stretched out on his bed like she owns the place. When she asks what he's doing, He explains he'll just sleep on the floor, saying it's more comfortable. But Nina isn't buying it. She can read his thoughts like an open book. With a playful charm, she suggests they sleep together like last night. Naturally, he refuses instantly. Then, plot twist. Nina turns into her cat form mid-argument. Misunderstanding cleared. But now he's got another problem. In this form, she's basically unclothed. And yet she happily snuggles into his arms, calling them comfortable. Our boy has no choice but to endure. The night passes without much trouble. Morning comes. The alarm blares. Our boy wakes up, opens his eyes, and nearly has a heart attack at the sight of Nina. He leaps back instantly, creating distance and waking her up too. Realizing he needs to head to school, he hurries. But Nina suddenly insists she wants to follow him. Our boy freezes. The very thought of her causing chaos at school sends chills down his spine. He declines on the spot. While getting ready, Raven shows up, already noting he's late. But when he steps out of his room, Raven immediately spots Nina with him. Sparks of jealousy fly instantly. Nina, sharp as ever, shifts into little sister mode, reminding him of his main priority. He acknowledges, but warns her to stay put and not cause any trouble. Judging from her face, though, that's not happening. And sure enough, the moment he leaves, Nina sets out to explore. Meanwhile, on the way to school, our boy wrestles with another headache. Finding the zodiac spirits seems almost impossible with his non-existent social circle. With no answers, he decides to just survive the day first. But then something feels off. Class is oddly empty. Even the bullies who normally harass him are nowhere in sight. He overhears classmates whispering. The missing students have all been hospitalized. Suspicious. The homeroom teacher arrives, confirming the rumors. But she warns the students to stop speculating, insisting the matter will be clarified soon. With that, class begins. The day flows smoothly for once. The school feels strangely peaceful. Later, our boy heads to the library to return overdue books. While handing them over, the librarian accidentally brushes his hand. Their eyes lock. Awkward silence. Both quickly apologize at the same time. She compliments his taste in books. Nervously, he explains he likes animals. To his surprise, she already knows. She's seen him hanging out at the natural science section. Our boy freezes, instantly regretting his life choices. Couldn't he have picked something cooler than animal encyclopedias? Also, realized he is holding the line. Before things get worse, he bolts, running straight into Raven by accident. Raven questions his clumsiness before quickly shifting gears, asking if he's found anything suspicious. Sadly, he hasn't, which makes her sigh and call him hopeless, linking arms with him in the process. Our boy almost short-circuits. Raven has always kept her distance, so this bold move completely catches him off guard. But she covers it up with its tsundere excuse, claiming she just wants to make sure he's actually taking things seriously. Outside, she explains her idea. Since zodiac spirits possess people, the smartest thing to do is check crowded places. Our boy admits it's clever. Raven smugly complains that he never thinks ahead. He claps back, reminding her of the time she used to cry during sports day as a kid. He even admits he found her expression cute back then. Raven goes pink at the jab. After the banter, she asks if he has any other friends besides her. The question stabs deeper than expected. His chest tightens suddenly. Before she can question him, he excuses himself and heads to the infirmary. But there's more to it. Raven notices a group of delinquent students heading somewhere shady. She follows them, eavesdropping on their chatter. They talk about the hospitalized students. Some whisper about a gang fight. Before things escalate, one student is suddenly sent flying across. Meanwhile, our boy is having his own crisis. The school nurse treating him is acting strange. Very strange. His mind blanks, words fail him. Because apparently, his treatment requires time. And let's be real, some guys would gladly trade places with him right now. Wooju panics. The nurse is in the process of taking off her shirt while he sits there with a dumbstruck face. Just moments earlier, he only came to the infirmary because his vision turning blur. One wrong glance later, he accidentally caught the nurse slipping off her stockings. Bad timing that somehow made his condition even worse. The nurse, however, notices something's actually wrong. His chest seems to burn, right around the solar plexus. She narrows her eyes, recognizing the signs, and instructs him to sit down. Wooju obediently moves toward a chair, but she suddenly stops him and gestures at the bed instead. Her unsettling smile doesn't exactly calm him down. Yep, this lady is showing all the red flags. The checkup begins. But this isn't normal medical stuff. She places a resonance spell on him. The pain he feels is simply because she's not used to handling divine power. Wooju, completely confused, tries to make sense of it. Unfortunately, before he gets an answer, she's already on top of him. Just as things begin heading in a very questionable direction, she drops the big reveal. She's actually a host of a zodiac spirit. The words snap Wooju back to reality. He jerks his head just in time, dodging the possessed nurse's sudden strike. Meanwhile, outside, Beck Raven witnesses chaos. Another delinquent student gets sent flying, and the rest charge forward together. But the mysterious girl wipes the floor with all of them like she's dealing a deck of cards. Raven narrows her eyes. Yep, this monster of a fighter is another zodiac host. Growing anxious by the second, Raven fumbles for her phone to contact Wooju. But then she hears it, his scream echoing from the infirmary. The shock makes her drop her phone, and before the hostile host can sense her presence, Raven already bolts. Back inside, Wooju is sweating buckets. The nurse, now fully possessed, looks pissed. She admits she wanted to end his pain quickly, but now she's decided to make it agonizing instead. Wooju does what any sane beta boy would do. He bolts out of the office while being chased by what might as well be Medusa. He dives into an open classroom and hides. His chest still burns like hell. Just when he thinks he's safe, the nurse slithers in, her eyes scanning. She adjusts her vision and immediately locks onto him. Wooju senses the killing intent and dodges at the last second. His panic mode hits maximum. It seems to be the end until Beck Raven bursts in and pulls him out of danger just in time. The nurse snarls, clearly pissed, as the two run without looking back. While running, Raven demands an explanation. Wooju fumbles, spitting out a panicked mix of stockings and bed. Naturally, Robin's brain short-circuits, and she grabs him by the collar, calling him a pervert, her Sundara energy going through the roof. Luckily, he clears the misunderstanding before her knee finds his ribs. Raven calms enough to share her intel. She spotted another Zodiac host earlier. But before she can finish, the nurse's long tail lashes out, wrapping around her and trapping her in a very awkward position. Fangs bared, the nurse bites into Robin's neck. Raven screams in pain, the sound tearing through the room. Wooju freezes, completely powerless. The bunny spirit bursts out of Raven in response, glowing faintly. The nurse snatches the bunny spirit with one hand, mocking it. The divine power? Worthless. Not even a snack. She smirks, declaring her plan. Eliminate the rabbit, then take her time savoring Wooju as the main course. But before she can sink her teeth in, the window shatters. Someone enters with the force of a storm, delivering a flying kick straight to the nurse's face. The blow lands perfectly, sending the monster crashing and knocking the lights out of her. The bunny spirit slips free. Raven drops to the ground. Wooju stares in shock. And the hero who made the save? None other than Nina. Yep, cat girl to the rescue. And of course, she's right on time. Nina feels relieved seeing Wooju alive. He shows curiosity, wondering how she found him and where she got a school uniform. The truth is simple. She stole it from Beck Raven. At that moment, Beck Raven suddenly collapses. Wooju panics, but Nina stays calm, explaining the situation. She reveals that the nurse has absorbed all of Beck Robin's divine power. She promises to explain everything in detail once they survive the current crisis. Wooju remains concerned, but Nina is confident, claiming it isn't a big deal before charging in recklessly. Despite her confidence, Wooju can't shake off his worry. By study and instinct, Cats should have the advantage with their superior reflexes. Nina should stand a chance. Yet the next moment, she is sent flying instantly. The impact forces Nina to reassess. The nurse is clearly far stronger than expected. Realizing this, she orders Wooju to grab Beck Raven and the bunny spirit. The reason is obvious: run without looking back. As they flee, Wooju notices Beck Raven still shows no signs of waking. Nina, while dodging the nurse, explains that Beck Rabin's divine power has been drained. Wooju demands more clarity. Nina elaborates. Divine power is energy granted by heaven, the source of both life and spiritual strength. In the upper realm, zodiacs draw from it endlessly, but once they descend to Earth and the contest begins, that changes. Losing divine power leaves a zodiac powerless. Wooju struggles to understand how this connects to Beck Raven. Nina explains further. Divine power can be used until depleted or drained forcefully, like what happened to Beck Raven. In other words, she is unconscious simply because her divine power is empty. Hearing that it can be replenished, Wooju asks about the process. But Nina shuts him down, insisting they focus on surviving first and worry about Beck Raven later. Suddenly, both are slammed into the school storage building. The crash shakes them badly. Reading the situation, Nina makes a grim decision. She tells Wooju to run, preparing to sacrifice herself to buy time. She reveals his body, as the judge holds an infinite source of divine power. The nurse, or rather the snake, has no interest in the contest. It only seeks to devour and evolve into the ultimate monster. Realization hits Wooju. He is basically a walking generator of divine power. He considers offering some to Nina, but she rejects the possibility before it is even spoken. The only way to draw divine power from the judge is through devouring. In simple terms, Wooju would die. The truth crushes him. He finally understands his powerlessness. Meanwhile, Nina steps forward to buy him time, but the gap in strength is overwhelming. She regrets her own lack of power as Wooju hesitates, unable to abandon her. Then comes her fatal mistake. The nurse grins wickedly, sensing victory. Wooju tries to warn Nina, but it's too late. Her body is already caught in the nurse's tail. The nurse mocks her weak attempt to scratch her scales, but Nina fires back instantly, irritating the monster. Enraged, the nurse coils tighter and sinks her fangs into Nina. A surge of divine power floods the snake. Overwhelmed, it tosses Nina aside like trash, laughing manically as its eyes glow. Nina, weak and broken, still urges Wooju to run, but his mind swirls with helpless thoughts as he watches the nurse undergo a terrifying transformation. Her body shifts, scales expand, and soon the nurse takes the full form of a giant snake. Its mocking tone drips with cruelty, savoring Wooju's despair. But Wooju's resolve hardens. Even in the face of hopelessness, he refuses to give in. Just as the end seems certain and his defeat inevitable, a massive light erupts from within the building. The snake freezes, stunned. Nina, half conscious, widens her eyes in disbelief. Before them, Wooju stands transformed. His hair and eyes glow with divine brilliance. And for the first time, the snake feels genuine fear. Now exuding divine power, Wooju orders the snake to stop. The snake trembles, yet finds his command ridiculous, like some rookie trying to boss around a final boss. Nina, meanwhile, scoffs in disbelief, unable to believe what she's witnessing. Still, our boy flexes his newfound power and forces the snake to officially join the contest. A blinding light bursts out from the building, engulfing everything. Moments later, Wooju finds himself in a completely different space. Someone approaches, and to his surprise, it turns out to be Nina. Except, plot twist, she walks right past him like he doesn't even exist. Confused, Wooju wonders what's happening. It's like he's invisible. With no other choice, he decides to observe quietly. The scene shifts to Nina. Her expression shows disappointment, then a sudden realization. She notices a couple nearby, their happiness stirring complicated emotions inside her. When the guy notices her staring, she falters. Wooju, just as puzzled as us, has no clue what's going on. All he knows is that Nina's eyes suddenly glisten with tears. The guy catches up to her, and they start talking. Wooju desperately wishes he could understand their conversation, especially why Nina is crying. But this mystery is clearly something left for later. Back in the present, Nina regains herself and dishes out payback to the snake spirit. The once arrogant serpent now pleads for mercy while Wooju questions what it truly is. Nina explains calmly, it's the snake zodiac and the nurse is safe. Wooju, curious as ever, wonders if hosts can really transform into such huge monsters. Nina clarifies that what they saw earlier was the snake's true form, achieved after absorbing both her and the bunny's divine power. She goes further, explaining how complete possession differs from partial. In complete possession, the zodiac spirit takes full control, leaving the host to follow either the spirit's will or their deepest desires. Wooju asks if that meant the nurse secretly desired to kill them. Nina shakes her head. The truth is simpler. The nurse's will was too weak, and the snake took over. Thankfully, despite everything, the contest remains intact. Wooju, still curious, asks how they managed to defeat the snake since he remembers nothing after his transformation. Even a snake spirit seems just as confused. Nina, however, seems to know something but keeps it vague. She tells Wooju it was the power of the judge, a unique ability that forces zodiac spirits to participate in the contest. Wooju thinks back and concludes this is probably why he survived that ridiculous fall from the fourth floor. Yeah, sure, sounds nice on paper. Nina clearly doesn't think so, but chooses silence. When asked about Beck Rabin and the nurse, Nina's expression hardens. She drops a bombshell. Both are in critical condition. Beck Rabin had all her divine power drained, and the nurse almost lost herself entirely to the spirit. Translation: two lives hanging on the edge. The snake, now apologetic, admits dragging the nurse into danger wasn't intentional. Divine power is addictive and nearly impossible to resist. Wooju understands the situation and asks Nina for a solution. Nina steps forward with confidence. They already have the answer, a walking divine power generator right beside them. Wooju's jaw drops as he realizes she means him. Shock floods him, remembering Nina had earlier dismissed the idea, saying it could kill him. Arms crossed and tone teasing, Nina clarifies. The host is a vessel. True, devouring the judge is the fastest way to gain divine power, but there's also a second method, sharing. It's slower but safe. Wooju, realizing he could actually help, asks about the process. Nina suddenly grabs his hand with a playful smirk. He panics, insisting she stop messing around. She smirks even wider, claiming she isn't. Just by holding hands, his divine power transfers. It's natural recovery, the only method of replenishment. Wooju knows it'll take time, so he asks how long. The answer shocks him. He has to hold on to both ladies until morning. At this point, even the translators couldn't resist calling him a lucky bastard. He wonders how in the world he's supposed to sleep in such a position. Before he can even complain, Nina joins the group, making the situation hilariously worse. Our boy is officially both the luckiest and unluckiest guy alive, sandwiched between three females, forced into divine hand-holding therapy. Meanwhile, the scene shifts elsewhere. A familiar face appears. It's Wooju's school bully, supposedly hospitalized. Yet here she is, lounging in her room, happily munching on snacks. The unsettling twist? She's a host too, partially possessed by the pig zodiac spirit. Things just got a whole lot messy, eh? Outside, a lone figure observes the destruction caused by the snake. Without hesitation, he activates his power, stirring up a storm around him. At first, I assumed only girls could serve as zodiac hosts. Or maybe this mysterious man isn't one of them at all. Meanwhile, Wooju can't catch a break. Even in his sleep, he's stuck continuously supplying divine power. His complaints are endless. Yet above him hovers a glowing heart, pixelated like something ripped straight out of a retro game. Apparently, it functions as a divine battery. Considering the madness of today, who knows what insanity tomorrow might bring. Translation: Wooju better stay on guard. Just as he thinks about stretching his legs, Nina shifts in her sleep. Suddenly, her face edges dangerously close to his. More specifically, her lips. Our boy is literally 1 inch away from graduating to his first kiss diploma. Then thunder cracks, lightning flashes, and Beck Rabin's eyes flutter open at the perfect worst moment. Her brain instantly snaps back to reality, witnessing the almost kiss in high definition. Wooju senses the death flag immediately. Before Beck can even release her shocked exclamation, he frantically waves his arms, pointing out it's a misunderstanding. Of course, their little banter does nothing to save him from embarrassment. Beck quickly shifts her attention to the nurse, trying to process the situation. She starts asking questions about what happened, but before anyone can answer, the nurse wakes up. Much to everyone's horror, she isn't wearing any clothes. Yep, awkward silence achieved. The scene cuts to Wooju's place. The nurse sits there, still puzzled, as they explain everything. Nina is a cat. She started the contest. Wooju is the judge. The nurse was possessed by the snake spirit, and Wooju saved her by forcing the snake into the contest. Basically a whole lore dump in one sitting. Naturally, Beck Rabin assumes the nurse won't believe any of it. Yet to everyone's surprise, she responds positively. Beck is stunned, wondering if she even explained things correctly. But the nurse insists it makes sense. After all, she can literally see the snake's spirit and feels the lingering connection. That alone is proof. However, her illustrations are so bad. Cringe fills the air as she clutches her notebook, blushing in embarrassment. Time to change the subject. The conversation shifts to something heavier, Wooju's lifespan. He only has 100 days left to live. The nurse, horrified, immediately offers her help. She can't stand by while a student shoulders such danger alone. That offer came out of nowhere, but Wooju thanks her sincerely. While she studies the remaining slots on his chest, she recalls Beck Rabin's explanation about the contest rules. Realizing she might be making him uncomfortable, the nurse quickly apologizes. To her, this contest feels more like a game. Wooju, red-faced, admits as much, too embarrassed to deny it. The topic turns again when Nina asks how they'll track down the remaining hosts. That's when Beck Rabin drops a reveal. She's already found one. Wooju immediately perks up, asking for details. Beck recalls seeing a girl with horns, suggesting she might be the sheep. But her next words are confusing. The girl was apparently beating up bullies? Nina raises an eyebrow. Sheep aren't usually violent, though they can be temperamental. Maybe this is a reverse case, where the host's willpower is so strong, she stays in control instead of the zodiac spirit. When Nina presses for more detail, Beck admits the girl wore a mask, making her hard to describe. Regardless, anything could help at this point. That when she remembers one key detail, square glasses. Wooju instantly falls into deep thought. Could it be someone close to him? The scene shifts again. Inside a convenience store, a chubby customer strolls in. She ignores the staff's greeting, her attention fully locked onto snacks. Surprise, it's Wooju's school bully, the pig host. No matter how much she eats, she remains endlessly hungry. The female staff watches silently as the mountain of packaged food piles up. Without looking at her, the pig scolds the clerk for spacing out, ordering her to hurry up and check out. The bill racks up to 200,000 won before she finally leaves with her snacks. But here's the twist. The staff is none other than Min Ji-hyun, the very host Wooju's group was discussing. Her eyes narrow with intent. She's already locked onto her next target, the pig. Back with our boy, he's still racking his brain over the identity of the mysterious glasses girl. The problem? He's practically a loner at school. Who would even know? Beck Rabin is about to say something, but the school nurse cuts in first. She suggests they take a break. After the insane day they've had, resting isn't the worst idea. Beck Rabin agrees, realizing she hasn't taken a proper bath since morning. Absent-mindedly, she reaches for her phone, then freezes. A flood of notifications greets her. A text message and 42 missed calls from her mom. The moment she answers, her mom explodes through the speaker, loud enough to shake the room. Beck apologizes repeatedly, swearing she's been at Wooju's place all night. But her mom isn't letting her off easily. Then comes the curveball. Her mom hints, insisting they wait a bit longer before doing it. Both Wooju and Beck snap their heads up with shocked expressions. Thankfully, Beck Rabin clears misunderstanding quickly. Eventually, the time comes for everyone to part ways. Wooju, concerned, tells Beck Rabin to reach out if anything happens. She smiles gently, insisting he call her immediately if something comes up. But Nina barges into the moment mid-sentence, declaring that she's the one taking care of him. No need for Beck to worry. Beck watches them interact like an overly close couple, before leaving abruptly, slamming the door harder than normal. Outside, she doesn't even try to hide her feelings anymore. Add to that the scene she witnessed back at school, and her irritation simmers. Of course, she's jealous. Her childhood friend suddenly has another girl living with him, and that girl is way too comfortable in his space. Meanwhile, Nina sizes Beck up as competition. Wooju, naturally, remains blissfully clueless about both girls' thoughts. Brushing aside the awkwardness, Nina suggests they eat. Later, Wooju discovers his food stocks are completely empty. Not surprising, considering he now has an extra mouth to feed. He decides to head to the store, asking if Nina wants to tag along. To his surprise, she refuses. Normally she's eager, but this time it's raining outside, and cats don't do water. Understanding, Wooju reminds her to stay put and sets out alone. The rain pours harder than usual as he hurries down the street. By accident, he collides with someone. Before he can speak, the girl he bumped into mutters complaints while desperately clutching her food. Then she bolts without looking back. Wooju freezes. That voice, it's unmistakable. The chubby girl is Do Hyeji, his school bully. But her appearance is completely different. His shock deepens as realization strikes. She's a host. With no time to waste, he decides to follow her. On his way, he spots another figure. Recognition slams into him. It's Glasses Girl. Min Ji-hyun. Not only is she his senior, she's also the librarian. Connecting the dots, Wooju recalls Beck Rabin's words. It's no coincidence. Min Ji-hyun is most likely the sheep host. Now, the focus shifts to Do Hyeji. As she walks, she pauses occasionally, the hairs on her neck rising. Someone's following her. The figure keeps its distance, but she can feel it. After a few blocks, her patience snaps. She confronts the presence directly, saying she knows they've been on her trail since the convenience store. The person steps into view. Min Ji-hyun. Her irritation is clear, along with her intent. She's here to teach Do Hyeji a lesson. The moment Do Hyeji realizes who it is, she forces her large frame to move with surprising speed. She bolts for her building, rushing straight into the elevator. Frantically jamming the buttons, she watches the doors close just before Min Ji-hyun can catch her. Relief flickers across her face too soon, because a voice speaks up behind her. Someone's inside the elevator with her. By the time it reaches the 12th floor, in her scramble, she trips and falls. Trembling, she begs the unknown presence not to come closer. Silence answers. Her mind races with one final, tragic thought. She never even dated once. Not the most heroic last words, but hey, it's funny in its own way. Instead of danger, a hand reaches out, helping her up. She stares in shock. The person in the elevator with her is Wooju. If you made it this far and feel the video is worth it, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Until the next recap.